It's not every day where a fan has to sit down with a legend, where a fan has to sit down with someone they've been looking up to for over the years. It's Starstruck. Bow down and worship.
Yes.
I don't know how many people know that's not your song.
Bow Down and Worship is a song written by an American.
Is it Paul Martin?
No, not really. Paul Martin actually took it from a gentleman, I forgot the name, but I have been in contact with him and we spoke. But the prayer was
Mokgadi dumelang go khayalo dumelisang ke nna wa ga modi a pula ke amogela mo yellow couch. We are back again and we just had to come back because it's not every day where a fan has to sit down with a legend, where a fan has to sit down with someone they've been looking up to for over the years. It's let's go. Starstruck.
We're not cutting that.
You know I'm not gonna cut it off, right?
We're cutting that.
I'm not cutting it off. Let's go.
Yeah.
Mokgadi dumelang go khayalo dumelisang ke nna wa ga modi a pula ke mo rwa matlaopane ke mo kalobe ke amogela mo gospel church with them. It's been a long time mo sa fitlhe mo gospel.
Starstruck.
One last day.
No, really? You only need to charge you per hour.
I'm gonna charge you.
You also have to charge you per hour.
Even me, I'm gonna charge you for
Okay, let's take it from the top.
For the last time,
Are you counting me?
let's go in 3, 2, 1.
Mokgadi dumelang go khayalo dumelisang ke nna wa ga modi a pula ke amogela mo gospel church with Neo. Ke sebaka se se tele sa kopalelo na mo gospel church with Neo, the yellow couch. Ele itsing ele le bantsi go magaeng a papaganeng ke re a tumpione ana re na le the bishop, the legend. I feel honored actually to be having our guest here because it's not every day a fan can sit down with a legend. It's not every day a fan can sit down with someone they've been listening to their music all of my life. I mean from 2006 up until now. It's been such a long journey. He was born in a family of 5 in the early 60s. I think he's turning 61 next year. Please help me welcome, should we say bishop or pastor?
whichever is good for you. Pastor, I'm still a pastor, and I am a bishop.
We'll discuss that. Bishop Benjamin Dube.
Thank you so much. It's an honor for me to come and be with you, and I just want to say grace and peace to all your viewers and your followers.
Oh, no, thank you for that. I'm not going to ask you about, because you have done the interviews quite a long time, tell us about yourself, where it started and all of that. I think people, they know that. I believe it's public thing that they know, but I want us to talk about your ministry, South African gospel, and overall the gospel in South Africa and abroad South Africa.
Yeah.
So before we start that, you greeted the viewers.
Yes.
Okay. Artenitabi. Just gonna fast forward, Nje. Bow down and worship.
Yes.
I don't know how many people know that's not your song.
Bow Down and Worship is a song written by an American.
Is it Paul Martin?
No, not really. Paul Martin actually took it from a gentleman, I forgot the name, but I have been in contact with him and we spoke. But the prayer was done by me, and I actually the first recording that I made as Praise Explosion.
Oh, bless our God.
Yes, oh bless our God. I did bow down there, and then I felt on Glory I needed to bring it back because it really felt fitting for Glory and for me to pray to God again. In really bringing that prayer, the same prayer, but and in a more meaningful way, because when coming to Oh Bless Our God, I wrote it down, and that's why you don't have the visuals of Oh Bless Our God, because we actually were in the studio.
In the studio.
Yes. So I wrote the prayer down and I prayed it through, and but this time I wanted it to be more real, and it came out, the way I really anticipated. Yeah.
And with all of that, the song, I think it's one of the biggest songs in South Africa. Those people who are in Egypt, they love it also. Those who are in the church, they love it also. What does that say to you? Because it's not every gospel song that can be loved by believers and non-believers.
I think everyone has a spirit. Everyone. This is the reason why it resonates with everyone. And this was done out of my spirit, and so everyone can connect. It doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not a Christian, but when you hear the prayer, you can identify that this is not just narrated, but it's something that comes from within. I'm talking to God. I'm not just wanting people to know that I can pray. I'm talking to God. I'm kind of like communicating with God and conversing with God. And I think that's why it is resonating with everybody, because we all have the Spirit.
The Spirit.
And so, and we can connect. This is how I feel. And that actually is connecting with my spirit. And this is what I would want to say to God, And so it's an honor for me to know that some of the things that I do, which are between me and God, they actually are able to, they are effective, and they are able to move other people. There are songs that I have written which are very personal, but then you hear somebody say, you know what, that song, it's me, and then you realize, okay, so maybe let me say this to you. Sometimes God will break you to make you a blessing. God will make you go through difficult times, and you will break, you will actually be messed up, but God is making somebody up.
South Africa.
What?
South Africa.
Just like that, right?
It's 6. Do you have load shedding?
Is it?
Load shedding was suspended.
Suspended though.
Okay.
Yes, there's no load shedding.
This side, was it suspended?
Stage 2.
Improvise.
Lights is charged, right?
Yeah.
The lights, your lights.
No, lights work on power.
What are those ones?
Do you have battery powered lights?
Don't do.
Yeah, well, I think that's what actually Jesus did. When I'm saying God would break you for you to be a blessing, and when Jesus was with the multitudes, and he was speaking the word of the Lord, and he then asked the disciples as to, do you have food for these people? You remember that story. And then there was a boy that had two fish and 5 loaves of bread. And then Jesus broke it. And then he started to say, okay, give it to the people. And that's where the understanding is coming from. And that's sometimes God will break you, and so that he can give to other people, you know, and be a blessing to other people. And this is exactly what I've seen God doing most of the time. I would go through a difficult time, and I would go through challenges, but then later on God would actually reveal as to what's the reason for it. And you discover that when you then write a song, then it becomes a blessing to everyone. But you wrote it out of brokenness. You know, you wrote it out of being pressed, you know, and being stressed. And I discovered that, you know, even the oil comes out of the pressing, you know, and the olive will come out when it is pressed. And so, and that has happened many times in my life. And I'm glad that now I understand. Before I never used to.
Yeah. You are talking about the challenges and the difficulties. I remember few years back, I was watching one of your DVDs, Healing in His Presence. I want us to talk about the title, and I also want us to talk about the bonus, where you were talking the reason why you recorded that project. You were going through difficulties in your life. I think that was the process of your divorce. I may be wrong.
Well, I think the issue of the divorce actually was the second time when I actually went through that, because healing was more in saying God was saying, come into my presence, because I can see that you're hurting, and I can see that you are broken. I can see that you're hurt, and I want you now to come into my presence, and I will heal you. And the issues of my personal life, and especially when coming to marriage, I realized that it takes two to tango. It's not only one person that is wrong. Me too. And that's where I would not say I was grown up in. In other words, I was not yet mature enough, yes. That's the right thing to say. So, and sometimes it's just being a novice, you know, you happen to focus on something, and you do not know how to handle other things. You know, and you're not, like you're saying, mature enough in that area. But you are mature when coming to, so almost like sometimes you can say, I'm doing your work. I'm actually focusing in doing your work.
Because that's the thing, you were winning awards, you were doing quite a lot of things, albums going platinum and all of that. But in your personal space,
yes,
you are facing challenges.
Yes.
You are facing difficulties.
Exactly. In my first divorce, I was just coming into my I just started or established the church. The church.
Okay.
So I was more into, and I was giving my time to
the church,
the work of the church. and obviously, even sometimes put the church first before my family.
Your family.
And I would actually even take sides. I would take sides. Listen, we are doing the work of the Lord, and you are not helping me. You are not adding any value. And she was more onto the family, and I was more onto the church. And at that time, I didn't know that the priorities. How do I actually put my priorities? And I thought that church is God, meaning not as in God, but I'm doing
For
God's
his
will.
people, yeah.
No, I'm doing God's will, and therefore I'm serving God. You understand what I'm saying? So I took it that way in saying I'm serving God, and therefore it's all about God. But then, you know what? Just before that happened, there was that thing. God was speaking to me, and God kept on saying, get your house in order. And that kept on going. Get your house in order. And I didn't actually focus on that. I didn't pay attention to that. I said, no, it's her, and all that. Then later on, after a while, I kind of like realized, I think now there's a gap between me and my family.
There was a void.
A void. And I was more into the church. So, only but late. Then I didn't even have a mentor, somebody who could actually warn me in saying, be careful of this, be careful of that, be careful of that. And then later on I realized that, okay, I messed up. Then God revealed to me, church is not me. I stand alone. Your priorities were supposed to be me, and then your family, and then the church. But I learned it late. When it was already, my wife had already actually filed. And but having said that, I learned.
I guess we learn through experience.
Well, I hate to say it, but you see, that is a sign that I was foolish.
Yeah.
Because a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. And I didn't have any to actually look at. So for me, I think I would say I was a bit foolish, in thinking that my family is supposed to actually come second to the church. But I want to say this even to those who are starting ministry. Don't ever make a mistake and make church God. God is first, and God stands alone. And the church should come after the family. And you are the priest in your family. When you are a man, you are the priest in your family before you are a priest in the church. I learned it in a difficult, I don't know. But I thank God I'm still here.
But throughout that up until now, you have kept a consistent professionalism in the industry, in the church. You have been the same throughout the years. You have been disciplined. And these days, it's quite a bit shaky. You get the one-hit song, win awards, you're off the ramp now.
Well, it depends on how you respond. It depends as to how you react and your attitude towards whatever you're getting and the accolades you're getting. I think you need to always remember that this is God's gift. And I always say to people, greatness comes with being grounded. You have to be grounded for you to be great. And you need to always remember that people can actually put you up there, and they can actually even bring you down. So you shouldn't. Personally, I am not running with the people or running with the praises of the people. I'm looking for God's approval. I want to be God's pleasure. I want to please God more than I can please man, because when you do that, you actually experience longevity. You actually stay longer because you're walking with God. You know, all the accolades and all that are a sign that you're doing well, or you're doing good, or that which you're doing is definitely affecting people positively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. And you, should I say, you were one of the first few to do live recordings in South Africa?
That's what.
Because, and I'm saying this in the sense of not a group, but as an individual artist.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's true. The first live recording, I Feel Like Going On, which is in 1999, that I actually recorded it. And even that, it was because of some Americans that came to my church.
I think that's when you broke into their market.
Yes, after that. Because they actually, it's a company from New York.
Okay.
They had a company in New York. Let me put it that way. And so they actually, when they came to my church and they saw what I was doing, they were blown away. And they said, no way. You are a live material, not a studio. Not a studio. You are a live material, and therefore we would like to do something with you if you allow. And fortunately, one of my friends was connected with them. And that is Victor Masondo.
Yeah.
And the wife was friends to them, and that's why they brought them to my church. And so, and then they offered me a contract. Yeah, an agreement we made to do a recording. They organized the budget and everything, and then we do I Feel Like Going On. We did I Feel Like Going On, and no one had ever done a live recording then.
I always say, I'm just gonna fast forward. I always say KK made the live recording fashionable in South Africa, but he was not the first one.
Who?
KK. Because after
KK is my son, man.
Yes,
He took after the father.
Yes, that's what he made it fashionable. He made it because
And one other thing, if I can add to that, is that remember that the very same spirit music that actually released I Feel Like Going On. KK was
he was one of the big.
So they actually ran with KK on that, which was good. I mean, I really appreciate his gift, and he did well. They did well, actually. But like I'm saying, you have to come back to the Father and say, actually, I saw.
Yeah. And speaking about that, quite a lot of artists, they were part of your team back then, Bongian Colin,
Yes.
Tohozo,
Yes.
Mahalia,
Yes.
the Kekes.
Well, sorry, just to come in, Dagozo just did one project with
project.
me, and because we were going to record in Durban, and therefore we wanted a choir.
Okay.
And so she happened to be in Durban, and then we actually roped her in
Okay.
for that recording.
And how do you, when you see them today and you think about, I mean, your Tolita Vete, they played for you, they did a song there.
Look, I'm blown away. I'm really, really, in fact, I'm so humbled to see that I played a part in their journey. It humbles me, and at the same time, it makes me so proud. You know, it humble but proud that I had a part to play in their gift. I had a part to play in their journey as worshippers. And I ended up becoming their fan. You know, I'm really their fan, and I always listen to their music. I listen to their work, and sometimes I do speak to them and let them know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And if someone is not doing right, I'm able even to communicate, but in a loving way. You know,
in a loving manner.
Yeah, in a loving manner, loving way, in making sure that I feel that God has made me a what do you call this, a gatekeeper in the gospel, where I have a responsibility of really being able to say, yes, this can come in. No, this cannot come in. Yes, this can go out. Okay, this cannot go out. I feel I have a responsibility, but I don't do that with arrogance. I don't do that with attitude. I do it with humility in making sure that they understand what gospel is.
You are mentioning gatekeepers, and there are a lot of, especially the young kids today, who say they are not being allowed within the gospel space because people are closing the doors for them, even if they are talented and whatsoever. How do we then try to open doors for those young kids? Because I think even our arts and culture department, we don't take gospel that serious. We don't get much airplay on the radio. We only get play on Sunday. At the summers, we only get 2 categories. At the metros, you only get 2 categories. That's the gospel.
Yeah.
But then we cater for everyone, to be honest.
I think we need to actually use that principle of saying, if you cannot make room for me on your table, I'm going to make my table. So I don't have to be invited by you and to eat with you, and you just give me a
Slice and piece,
slice. I'd rather actually make my table and call everyone.
Sure.
And that is what we are supposed to do in the gospel. We need that which I did with the legendary in giving awards. It actually pushes that narrative of saying, let's do it ourselves. Let's not wait for people to invite us. Let's do it ourselves. And if there are those that are in the gospel and they are meant to actually serve gospel musicians and help gospel musicians, and they are not doing it, God will take it away from them. He will take it away from them, and He will give it to others that will do the work that God, because it's not about the worker, it's about the work. It's not, God can actually give anyone anyone who actually has aligned himself and continues to align himself with the plan of God, and the doing of God and the desire of God, and then God uses him, and the work is done. And it's not about you're the only one that has to do the work. It's not about the worker. And I want to say it again. It's not about the worker. It's about the work.
So are you saying the ministry and the industry, they can work together?
Come again?
The ministry
Yes.
and the industry,
Yes.
can they go hand
Of
in
gospel.
hand? Yes.
Without a doubt. Absolutely. Absolutely. You cannot sing about someone you don't have fellowship with or don't have a relationship with. And that's another thing. It's not enough to have a relationship, because a relationship without fellowship is doomed to die. I cannot say I love you and never have time with you. Meaning, even when coming to people who are in love, I believe for that relationship to continue, to be effective, to be current, you need to fellowship, you need to be together, you need to be intimate, you need to continue to be in the same space, so that you can grow this relationship. Same thing with God. And you need to have fellowship with God. You need to pray, read the word of the Lord, and do according to the will of God. Please God instead of pleasing somebody else. Please God. And so that the relationship can continue. And then that is what is needed. Ministry and the gospel industry are supposed to continue together. If you have industry without thinking ministry, then you may as well just go do secular.
Because there's a saying that some people are just singing because they can sing.
Because they've got gifts and talents.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not us. The bottom line is that we cannot actually tell them, don't do gospel because you don't believe or whatever. We can't. God is the one that will expose them and deal with them. But the issue is we're talking here about ministry and
the industry.
The industry, gospel music industry needs those that are doing it to align it with ministry.
Sure.
It's the same situation when coming to church. If you continue to allow musicians to come to church and play as musicians, as artists, then you are going to create a monster. In church, we need to have ministers.
Servants.
Exactly. People that are serving, not people that are doing business. Servants. The church has a responsibility to take care of the musicians, but not out of demand. You cannot, let me say this, you cannot try and demand a withdrawal where you didn't deposit.
So I can't go to FNB.
No, and then you didn't deposit anything. You need to deposit and then you can withdraw. Not come in there, and say, for me to play, I want this money. No, you can't. You should sow, you should deposit, you should plant, and then later on, the church has a responsibility to take care of the gifts in the church. Now, I'm in another space there, but the truth of the matter is that the people that are in the church, the people that are in the industry, especially gospel, they need to be ministers. They need to know I am a minister.
But Mfundis, most of our artists, they they don't have where they are serving on Sundays.
That is a problem.
And you as a pastor, I don't know, maybe you have done this before you could have your own church where you knew on Sunday, I have to be at my church, I'm serving there.
I served, before I started High Praise Center, I served in Zoe Bible Church for 3 full years before I was ordained as pastor. I served every Sunday I was there. And
it was not a gig.
It was not a gig. I was not paid. In church, I was playing keyboards, and I was a music director. And I would Bishop Botswana can tell right now that I wasn't paid. I was never paid. And at that time I was already doing performances, concerts, festivals and all that, but I was in the church. What I'm trying to say to you is that if you're doing gospel, you need a spiritual home.
That's true.
You can't be effective when you don't have a spiritual home. And God continues to mold us in the church, continues to speak to us in the church and reveals his heart and his plan for us in the church. And I'm not saying, in no way I'm saying that God cannot speak to you individually alone. But church plays a big role in your relationship with God.
I don't think there's someone who has ever left church and said that their life has improved since they left the church.
No way. No way.
That their prayer life has gone better or it has grown.
No, I agree with you. I mean, look, that's why Apostle Paul says we should not singadebeseli ukuhlanganyela.
Hey, asizulu akisulu.
Yeah. In other words, we should not look down at the fellowship.
Oh, yeah.
We should not, I don't know in English, but that's exactly what it means. Do not downgrade the issue of fellowship. Yeah, it is important that you need to fellowship. He says don't do that because that's where we encourage one another, that's where we strengthen one another, that's where we empower, or let me say even in our fellowship, the Spirit of the Lord is able to move among us, and we are encouraged and we are strengthened, and there's counseling, there's all that in the church. So it's for the good.
Sure. I think it's 2006 when you recorded, is it Into His Presence or Into Thy Presence? Into Thy, the song.
Or the song.
No, I mean the project.
Or in His Presence.
In His Presence.
Yeah.
And then the name of the song is...
Worship. Oh, okay, sorry.
The name of the song is Into Thy Presence from the same album.
Into Thy Presence.
The first album, yeah. Was it in 2006? Because I think it came 2007.
Yeah, you're right. I think it was around 2005.
The idea, because during the pandemic, one could think you are ahead of your time when you recorded that.
Well, I don't know whether to agree with you. I just know that in His Presence, one actually was a breakaway from the norm that every artist is kind of like kept in.
Yeah.
And you know, And this is where, now I'm bringing another thing, this is where God confronted me, the issue of in his presence. There was a confrontation and an encounter with God, because God then revealed to me that I was a false worshipper, and that was prior to in his presence.
Yeah.
And I knew about false prophet, I knew about false teacher,
Yeah.
but I didn't know about false worshipper. And God said, you are a false worshipper. And I thought to myself, okay, wait a minute, what is this? And God said, you have demanded my praise for yourself. You are worshiping me via the people. In other words, in other words, you are feeding from the praises of the people. You are not directly worshiping me and expecting my response. You are looking at the people and you are expecting their response, and you feed on that, and you actually are getting it to you. You're taking the praises to yourself. And God said, you are not worshiping me in spirit and in truth. You are still performing. You are performing for the people, not for me. And I thought to myself, okay, what does this mean? Because you have to actually have an audience to minister to, or to bring into the presence of the Lord. And God said, get out of the crowd. He just said, get out of the crowd. If you want to worship me in seclusion. If you can worship me in seclusion, you can worship me anyway. And that was really difficult for me.
Yeah, because I remember there's a song, I'm not sure if it's just to be close, or it's Ngiyakutanda, where you just broke down and Elon Bocha left the first and he went to the organ. It's too hectic there.
Yes. And that was a seal, an endorsement, because the presence of the Lord was there.
But also, how does Elwin just step into that moment where he just needs to, I need to live here and go there?
Well, look, God uses gifts. He uses if you're not gifted, God will not use it. He will use you according to your gift. And you have to be gifted. You have to have the gift. You have to have the talent. And God then will navigate. You see, and this is exactly what happened with Edwin. He's gifted, and the anointing and the presence of God was in the place. When he saw me leaving the piano, and he could feel that now there's something
missing also,
and there is something that is beyond what we are doing. Then all of a sudden he then started to play. And he moved in the atmosphere of worship. And that actually changed the atmosphere, and it became even more intense. You know. And that's why when you sit and listen to Ngiyakutanda, you will know, and you will actually witness the change of the atmosphere.
When it comes to the brass, they're all.
Yeah. That was an endorsement.
Sanctified, that was the first album where I went to your live recording now.
Yes.
It was in Carnival City.
Sanctified, that was
after
I did the first and worship, and I did healing, and I did renewal. Yes.
And you are sanctified.
Then God said, now you can go after. That's why we brought in the audience.
For me, I felt robbed.
Okay.
I was at the recording. How do you do a recording 2 hours? We haven't seen you for last 3 project where you are doing your recordings.
Yeah.
And we are busy by 10 we are done. I'm funding Sunjani and
2 hours. What did you want? You wanted 4, 6 hours. You're joking. Come on. Sira. No.
And I think that's one of your underrated projects. The sound, the music, it has everything.
Yeah.
If people say South African don't write music, you just say, man, check this project. The sound of South Africa, you check this. You had the contemporary, you had the gospel. It was a well-balanced album. But it was, I don't know if it didn't break in the market of South Africa.
I wouldn't know as to how to respond to that. Some albums, they don't just blow up or blow and they become big. Some of them, they actually grow with time. You know, there's some albums that, or songs, even songs that that have their lifespan. You find that their lifespan is longer than the other songs. So, and one other thing, if you have noticed, my ministry, it's not after hits. I'm not after making hits. I'm after communicating with people. I'm after really taking people in a journey, on a journey. And I think that's where longevity comes in. You know, because then people can play an album that I recorded 10 years ago, and it can still be relevant.
In his presence.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that the first project where you played with Dube? Because your MD, there was Bafana, there was Becca, there was Morolo, because you hardly change your band when it comes to recording. What's the secret behind that?
Okay, to start with the issue of Sanctified, I actually changed from renewal, and on Sanctified I had different people. Yeah. So I just needed a new approach, and everyone interprets music differently. And Mbego has been one of the people that I really believe in his gift and his musicality, you know, and I felt that I needed to actually just change the sound and make sure that I move to the next. More so, I love his spirit, and I always love people that are very calm, humble, and of course that can interpret things in a deeper way, not in a way of show off. You know, people that show off most of the time, they come in and we don't hear anything what they did. You know, I always you know, I always say people that are busy and are everywhere. It's almost like they've never been anywhere. You know, if you are everywhere, you even forgot that. Where were you?
Yeah, because you are all over.
You're all over. But a person who actually is disciplined and knows where to place things and is strategic, he goes a long way.
Were you part of Family Factory?
No.
You were not.
No. I actually did Joyous, and Joyous 1.
Joyous, how not Joyous 1? It's Joyous Celebration.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
No, it's not just
What? No, there is Joyous 1. What do you mean? Joyous 1. Because now there is Joyous what now?
27.
27, you see now. You even know. Now, the first Joyous recording is the one. Actually, let me just say, I kick-started Joyous. By that I'm not saying it was my vision. But I kick-started, I broke the ground. For Joyous.
Was it not the transition from Family Factory to Joyous Celebration?
Not really. Family Factory was founded immediately after they did Joyous 1.
Is it?
Yes.
I always thought it's Family Factory, then Joyous.
Well, I may be wrong in their friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Their friendship was long before.
Before, yeah.
Yeah, and then in recording Family Factory, it was during the time when Joyous was starting.
It was starting, yeah.
Yeah, because it started with them.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously all those that were doing Family Factory, most of them were my singers. You know, so yeah.
And many people, they don't know that the late Nei, he was in the industry for quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But he blew off after Come As You Are, which was in Healing. And how was the relationship with him prior that and after that? I mean, he did quite a lot of projects with you since from then. As the BV, going to join Spirit of Praise, giving us a national prayer there also.
Oh man, talking about Nei, it's kind of like becoming emotional for me, because Nei was so gifted, and I actually had eyed him for continuing with Spirit of Praise, if I happen to kind of like move on, but unfortunately it just happened before I could even think of starting to prepare for that. I didn't know that it would happen that, but yes, Nei has been there for long, and going back to Family Factory, going back to Joyous and all that, and I knew him even before he joined them. So, but we were just like him there, me there, and so up until I did For Every Mountain. Thank you. Then
he was part of that.
He was supposed to.
Okay.
What happened is that then I brought him together with Jay Hlongwane. Jay's song made it. The production in Devon didn't go well. I'm even embarrassed to say it didn't go well. And we recorded, but his song didn't come out right. Nei's song. And I then had to make a call of saying, no, we can't run with it, because we couldn't fix it. Production. So
this is post-production.
I'm talking just production, like recording the
song,
the recording the song, the recording of the song, and at least Jay Hlongwane, we were able to fix it, you know, but his we could not, and really it hit hard on him. Let me say, he was not happy.
I'd be devastated also.
Yeah. So he couldn't understand why, and I couldn't communicate with him about the fact that it's not going to be part of it. He just saw his song not part of it. And he actually, only later on that I spoke to him, when we were now doing healing and doing spirit of praise, that I then, but all along, he didn't know. He thought maybe I just, dropped him, But, man, in my heart, I kept on saying, I need to do something with him. I need to do something with him. Up until healing.
And
just imagine, for every mountain, thank you. After for every mountain, thank you, came you bless me still. Came I feel like going on. No, sorry. Came in his presence. Yes. Then in his presence, then worship in his presence. Then came healing. Yeah.
Because I think he did 2 songs there.
Yes.
Lamb of God and Come As You Are.
That's right.
Yeah.
So 2 albums before I could call him in. So, but what I'm trying to say is that it had been still my plan and my desire to do something with him. And so when healing came, and I saw the opportunity, and I said, you know what? No. He is ready, and I am ready. So, and it worked. Man, I'm telling you, his writing is amazing.
Such an amazing writer.
And even the voice. His voice is amazing. He used to like a reggae style.
The song.
Yeah, Rasta style. And he was good even in that. And so I knew him more in that line. But when he wrote Lamb of God, and he actually wrote even the Come As You Are, which I just added a few things into that song. So, I mean, he did amazing.
Because many people didn't know that he was sick.
Yeah.
People were talking he has a pooza face and all of that. Social media being social media. And when you got the news, how did you receive those news? Because was it a year later or a year before you could bury your mom?
Yeah, it was a year before.
Okay, yeah.
It was a year before my mom's. It really, really affected us, man. And the first time when I got to know, in fact, I could see on the hands, because it had not yet reached the face, the hands. And I asked him, and I said, oh, what's going on with your hands? And then he explained to me, but he said he's actually trying to see doctors and things like that. It had not yet spread.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we kept on praying, man. And but by the look of things, it would be better and coming back again, all that. But I must say, it really affected us. But I never thought that I thought he was going to overcome it.
I mean, he looked, especially when you see him in the performances.
Yes.
During his Friends in Praise recording, Volume 6, you wouldn't say he's not well.
He was strong. He was really a fighter. He was really a fighter, and that's why I'm saying it's an emotional situation, man. But I must say, immediately after he passed on, God gave me peace because I actually had a dream. And in that dream, somehow I believe God was speaking to me, and it was almost like we were together, and He was worshiping, and we were in the presence. It was almost in the presence of the angels in that dream, and I said, "Hey, prophet, are you okay?" And he said, "Bishop, I'm okay. Let's just worship. Let's just worship." And I thought to myself, wow. And after that dream, I'm not going to say other things that were very, I actually communicated with the wife, some of the things, but I told her and I said, Nay is okay.
He's at peace.
He's peaceful and he's worshiping. He is active. He's like happy where he is, and therefore I'm glad because this was for me. God communicates in different ways. So and this was my way of finding peace.
Peace, yeah. You joined, I'm gonna say joined Spirit of Praise choir or the team.
Ensemble.
Yeah. At volume 3.
Yes.
Were you part of Spirit Music all along?
Spirit Music, I was working with Spirit Music. My projects were coming out of Spirit Music.
As a distributor.
As a distributor.
Okay.
But Dube Connection is the licensor.
The licensor. Okay.
The licensor of my work to Spirit Music.
Okay.
So I was already in Spirit Music. And when they started Spirit of Praise, Spirit of Praise, I was there but not part of it.
You were not, or you were there because I remember there was a heat debate on social media before.
Yes.
You started it, some KK started it, and all of that. So hence I'm saying you kind of joined at 3.
Yes.
So I wanted to find out between 1 and 2, were you part of the production at the back, or you were just doing your own thing?
No. I was not part of it at all. It was started by Aubrey Peacock, the Spirit Music
CEO, founder.
Yeah, CEO, and with Opa Mutswahaya. And of course, then they roped in a KK to do production.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then when coming to 3, after 1 and 2, because 1 and 2 was done same day, same stage. So
now that you are mentioning it, makes sense. No, it literally makes sense. But they look the same.
Yes. It was one production, one recording, but they divided it into 2.
Sure.
So you may as well just say the 3 was 2.
Yeah. No, it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Okay. And you have this, I don't know if it's a gift or what, where you bring this spiritual maturity, if I may put it that way, within the group. Because if we could remove you from that, when you do your reprises there, you get that where the anointing and all of that. How do you tap into that? How do you get that connection?
Well, I think you're right by saying there's a grace that I have and that God has given me. I think it comes with experience and it comes with my assignment as a leader and a pastor, a spiritual leader. I think it comes with that. When 1 and 2 was done, it was still that mentality of saying it's different artists. So they will come on stage one by one. And then you come and you do your song out.
Go backstage.
Yeah, then another one, another song, you do your thing out. And when I came in on 3, then I introduced the issue of saying, no, God wants us to be family. We should not compete. We must complement.
Oh.
You see. And the complementing will come in us being one. We need, while someone is on stage and leading there, we need to back that person. Both singing with him and praying him through while we are on stage. And then I presented that to them, and I said, I even wrote a song and I said, we are family.
We are family.
We are one.
Together. We are one.
Knitted together, yes. That was the message I was driving. So they were able, I mean, they were Soli Mahlangu, Keke, and all that. And then I said, listen, I mean, Soli used to be my keyboard player long ago. And Keke used to be my backing singer. So I was able to pull everything together in making sure that even those that I didn't work with, they would say,
we are pulling one direction.
Yes, this is the direction we're going. And fortunately, it just aligned. And from volume 3, now I was more involved. You know, the founders, if I may put it that way, they actually let me run it.
So you don't have shares there?
Yeah, ngizokutshela masiqeda lana ukuthi ngama-shares But let me just say this. It is important for one to really, really attach himself. And I think this is where Aubrey actually came in and he said, listen, whatever you need, we will actually be there to do it for you. So yes, there are agreements on basis of spirit of praise, but I don't have the rights on spirit of praise. Yeah.
Speaking about the shares in the business side, even today we still having artists who are struggling the business side of the music. The other day, I think it's a year ago, you called artists,
a prayer.
you called a prayer and all of that, where it was even suggested, how about we have a union which is going to regulate
a federation.
The federation. How is it going so far with that process?
I must admit, it actually was a good initiative that we came up with. But I will be frank with you, we're still struggling with the egos. We are, even in the gospel, we're still struggling with egos, and I have a responsibility
as a gatekeeper.
Yeah. And you're gonna hold me to that, right? Yeah. I have a responsibility to improve the how can I put it? To improve the gospel industry. For the lack of a better word, and therefore, even if there are those challenges, I don't think one needs to actually say it's not working,
Mm.
and let go
Mm.
of it. We did talk about it. We did pray about it, meaning when we were together.
Yeah.
And I believe that we have a responsibility to pursue it.
And implement it.
And yes, implement it. And so no one is going to do it for us. No one.
Because the thing is, if you mention a Benjamin Dube, a Lindelani, a Jabuhlongwane, Mthunzi Namba, those are the powerhouse. Those are the people who, even if you go to parliament, they'll Minister of who's the Minister of Arts and Culture? It's no longer Nachi.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, whoever he is,
Yeah,
they will be able to listen to
even if
you
they're
guys.
there, we don't know them. So it's a sad situation, you know.
We only hear about them when they announce someone has passed away and all of that, which is not nice.
Yeah. Or people have done well in the Grammys and they identify with them, but they are not doing the groundwork.
Which is very important.
Yes. It's a very, that's why we came together, and that's why I felt it was needed for gospel artists to come together and pave our way forward and establish something that will serve even our children and our children's children who will be in the same industry. Having said that, I won't actually let it be. I won't give up on it.
But how do you deal with if people are having their egos, pride? How then do you bring them together into one room so that we can be one? Because you go to the festivals and you see we are not united. We are not one. We are not a family. We are just scattered.
To tell you the truth, I don't think I don't know, but you know what I'm trying to get to is that I'm just thinking as to who can do it.
Like I said, you can do it.
Listen, I'm as much as I believe I have a responsibility, but it doesn't only take Pastor Benjamin to make it happen. It takes everyone. And everybody who is in the ministry, or let me say in the industry, needs to play a part. And which is why I was bringing everyone. Because I did an invitation, a personal
one,
yeah, you know that. Personal invitation to everyone individually for them to come. And so that we can pray together and talk about
and I remember people were just expressing their issues, their concerns,
yes,
and coming up with solution.
Which is what we need. But I think in putting it into action, then egos come in. I'm not saying we fought. No, we didn't. It's just that each and everyone ended up thinking about himself. And we know we're supposed to, but I have my thing. I need to run with this and that. So that made it impossible, or let me say, made it difficult. Sorry, made it difficult for us to continue. But it's still hanging. It's still there. I'm hoping that we will ultimately have a breakthrough.
Before we close up, was legend.
Oh, thank God we closed.
No, you're still continuing. I need to know there's something, but I can say it.
Oh my God. Okay.
This is my first closing.
Right.
Was Legendary your last project that you were recording?
Oh, I knew that was gonna come. I really knew it was gonna come. Everybody's asking me the same question.
It felt like it was the last project that we are recording. Looking at what you have achieved over the years,
Yeah,
looking at your years,
yeah.
your journey.
Mhm.
What else can you do? You just need to go and chill there by Dubai.
What else can you do? I think Legendary was more like saying, let me take a breather for me. Let me take a breather. Legendary, let me go back to that which I've done. And because now I'm just celebrating my journey, but in no way in saying that's the end or I've arrived. As a matter of fact, I never want to arrive.
You have never arrived.
I haven't. And I don't want to hang around people that have arrived.
You don't hang around chickens.
The chickens are even worse because they don't fly high. The Legendary was a breather for me, or is a breather for me. And so, and I am in prayer for me to know what God wants me to do next. But I have an idea because this has been in my heart and it has been resonating in my heart. I still have to do South Africa in His presence. I still
FNB Stadium. 90,000.
You're dreaming already.
90,000. Yo.
No, that is the thing I cannot shake off. It has been in my spirit, and God has been actually revealing to me, bring them into my presence. Let them come to my presence, and I'm hoping that it will be the next. I'm hoping, but I'm still in prayer because of the scripture that says, start in Jerusalem and go to Judea, go to Samaria, and go to the uttermost parts of the world. And so my focus in my prayer is that, Lord, I know I still have to do South Africa in His presence. And then after that, I can move out.
You know, you have this 6 gun that you do when you know, there's a difference when you cook the oxtail, the first time.
Oh, my oxtail!
When you cook it and then the next day, when you fucking oven it,
Yeah.
doesn't taste the same, right?
Okay.
But with your music, which song can I think of from the current album? Praise. Renew my strength. Yeah, renew my strength. Or Praise that you did with Mo.
Okay,
It comes from the microwave.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's a new project.
True.
Which spice you weigh that song? It's not a 6 gun
The
that
Holy Ghost! No, but truly speaking, you know, God, I'm not gonna say I know what I do, and I know how I'm doing it. All I know is that God takes me back to songs that have been done, but because of a current understanding and the leading of the Spirit of God in doing the song, then it changes the form and it becomes current. It becomes now. And God has graced me with that. I will take a song that has been done by anyone or many people, and I
do it, Lord.
Yes, do it, Lord. And it's songs that have been done, but then it becomes new. And I think it's when you interpret it through the Spirit of the Lord that it becomes new. You know, and I discovered that when the Bible says sing a new song unto the Lord, it doesn't mean write all the time new songs. It simply means sing prayerfully and using the Spirit of the Lord guiding you, leading you, and then it becomes new. That's why you end up having the same melody, but when you speak in tongues and you sing in tongues and somehow there's an unction. There is oil. There's something that will actually say, no, it's not him. You know, it's something else. And that is what God has really revealed to me. It's not by might. It's not by power. It's not by your voice. It's not by your experience. It is by the Spirit of the Lord. And when you do that, everyone is blown away.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are we getting part 2 next year? But for me, it would make sense to release it towards Easter to give this one a time.
Right.
I'm just saying.
No, I can promise your viewers. I can promise your viewers that we are working towards releasing it in March.
My sources are never wrong.
I can give you that. We are at work right now.
Okay.
Like I said, that we wanted this one to
move
out of the way. And then we're starting now with the second one. And so it's going to be...
When Oli released her project, Twitter came for you, eh? People were saying, no. Listen, Fundis.
Okay, I'm listening. Wow.
Twitter came for you, like, how do you give God a trial and test him? Like, there were questions about the prayer you did there.
Oh, on Bow Down.
No, not on Bow Down.
On what?
On Police Project.
Oh.
Polimwang.
Yeah?
What
was the statement? I don't know about that.
There's a prayer.
Yeah.
And then
I prayed, yes.
Yeah, you prayed, you give God a test, or you tried him, along those lines there.
No, but it's almost the same
as
thing.
Bow Down.
As Bow Down.
Yeah.
The issue of the fact that we've tried you, and we found you to be the one worthy of the praise. In other words, it speaks to evidence. It speaks to evidence. We have evidence that you are worthy. We have evidence and that you deserve the worship.
Yeah.
You are God. Your ways. Your ways are deserving the worship. And we bow before you. I think this is where it is. It's not about the fact that we are comparing God with other gods. It's because we are trying to say it is by evidence that we know. We're not just worshiping you because we heard about you. Because others are saying we need to worship
about you. Yeah.
No, we have evidence, and that's why we bow before your throne, and that's where it is. As a matter of fact, I didn't see that.
You wouldn't see that. Anyway, Samu did quite a great job, both in your project and in Spirit of Praise.
Yeah.
How did you decide to call him, or you sat down with Joseph to say because you were using Joey? Is it Joey?
on my
your
project.
yeah.
Yes.
You were using Joy on your project, but then Sabu came and he brought a different sound.
Well, on my project, for a long time, I know Sabu very personally. Playing with everyone, and I kind of say, and I would actually speak to him and say, "You're doing well. Keep going.
Yeah.
You know, keep going." But this time, I felt since Joey was not available and not around, I needed someone who would match that, who would be in the same level. You know, and Sabu, for me, had proven to be in that level. And say in 5 years ago, 10 years ago, no, I don't think I would have.
Yeah. No.
But now I felt like he is ready.
He's ready.
Especially when coming to my project. When coming to Spirit of Praise, it was Bogun some things. So and so we ended up having to have him there, and we said, "Can you do it?" And he said, "Yes."
Anyway, before you Vala. Just talk to the young kids who are there.
Yeah.
Because everyone, I mean, if you check the comments on your YouTube and all of that, they'll tell you, "I want to sing with you, I want to back up for you."
True.
How do you give those young kids, and then all of that, a chance to say, "You can do this and you can have a
Longevity.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but we understand.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
How do you give them that advice that say you can still do this, and with that, how do they keep intact with God?
I think to start with, it's not easy to be discovered. It will take one to always be visible and to expose his talent or her talent. And so and you keep going up until you are discovered. We cannot be everywhere, but I think the issue of auditions that we do sometimes, like in Spirit of Praise, and obviously there are other projects that are going to come where we are going to do talent search, you know, going from one province to another. And so my desire is to actually take the tribe of Benjamin all over the country and discover talent and be able to give them, discover and develop and then display. I want to do that. So we will be doing that, but I would say to everyone, don't wait for people like us. Just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. You'll never know. God's timing is perfect. But stay true to your gift and your talent, and even develop yourself. Don't run with just the talent. Make sure that you work on your craft. Work on your craft, and make sure that you align with people that can push you and let your gift, because your gift will present you before kings and Queens.
Oh.
And so keep going. Don't say. Some people will say, Muruta, I want to come and sing with you and all that and blah blah blah. And I say to them, okay, I hear you, but where you are,
What
keep,
are you doing?
keep doing something. Keep doing something. If you are in the church, keep serving.
Kids one.
Please.
Please don't forget to keep on streaming the album. The album is out there. It's legendary in its presence. It has nice song. I think I'm still on track 6 and 7, somewhere around there. Ukubonga. I'd voucher for that song any day. From Namurama Taupa, Namuratipa, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And from the rest of the team, Retoramana Jesu Christe, Rato de Cavalano, Iberunagaina Tsototle.
Amen. Amen.
That was long.
Amen. Amen.